Welcome back to the MyLatinLife Podcast. Since 2014, MyLatinLife has been your trusted guide to traveling and living in Latin America. Today, we have a special episode for you guys. I believe our first episode dedicated to Belize, all things Belize, the mysterious country bordering Guatemala and Mexico. And we have the best possible guest you could possibly have to talk about all things Belize. We have dude, you got to help me pronounce your last
Ryan
name.
Wrobel.
Ryan Wrobel of Wrobel Co. They're definitely one of the top, most reputable law firms in Belize, and we're happy to have Ryan. How's it going, man?
Pretty good, man. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here on My Latin Life. Thank you for the invitation. Again, I'm Ryan Wrobel. I'm an attorney with Wrobel and Company LLP, law firm down in Belize City, but we practice countrywide, and just having a great time and happy to be invited here to chat about Belize with you today. So thank you once again for the invite.
Absolutely. I should have practiced your last name offline before we hit the record button, but that's how people know it's not AI.
Indeed, we're real humans here.
So we have a couple things we're going to talk about. The QRP residency program is huge. It's really attractive for retirees. We're definitely going to talk that. Before we get into it, you want to give a bit of an intro about how, the story about how you yourself got down to Belize?
Sure, yeah. So thank you for that again. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, up in the United States of America. I am an attorney. I'm a New York attorney where I originally qualified. Up there, still a member of the bar, but not actively practicing in New York. Back about 21 years ago, to 2005, I decided to move to Belize. Now, this was post-education, but Belize, to me, a place that I had been visiting for a long time, it looked like a great place to set up shop and try to start a career, which is what I did. And I have absolutely no regrets. I think Belize is a fantastic country. I think it is attractive to many once they kind of cut through the mystique, like you mentioned before, Vance, and find it. It is Mother Nature's best kept secret. And it's a great place for investment. We have great retirement programs. And, my story is I qualified as an attorney now. We're celebrating our 15th year of my law office being.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what I do, and I like helping people out as far as finding Belize and seeing all that Belize has to offer as well. And perhaps some of your listeners, I'd love to help out. www.lawbelize.bz is our website, which has more information about me, my team, and the type of services we provide down in Belize.
Great. And that'll all be in the description of the podcast episode as well, the link that people can find. So you must have, when you came to Belize, you must have been what, like late 20s?
Late 20s, yeah, late 20s. And I originally started out with Deloitte and Touche was set up. It was an accounting firm in Belize at the time. The accounting firm's still there, but they're not under the international Deloitte and Touche label anymore. But worked for those guys for quite a few years, and then ended up going back to school in Jamaica to qualify in Belize. There's educational prerequisites and other things that you have to do to qualify to be called to the bar and licensed to practice law. There's no bar exams like the United States, so it's very different. Anyway, that was back in 15 years ago, celebrating our anniversary. It was an interesting path, and no regrets. Great spot, and we're doing all right.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, is it because Belize is like a common law system similar to Canada?
Belize, it is that. I mean, there's a lot of similarities in our laws if we're comparing it with U.S. law, for example. Pick a U.S. state. The core concepts are the same. It's English common law based, right? So when you go to law school in the States, that's what you're learning in your first year anyway. Criminal law, property law, contracts law. These are basic English law that's hundreds of years old. And then from there, it kind of dovetails. Belize independence, September 21st, 1981. So it's a relatively new country.
Yeah.
Not so many years off of being a colony of the UK. And so the laws and government more closely mirror the UK as opposed to the US. But yeah, property rights well respected. Again, more similarities than differences. So somebody coming from the English speaking world, Canada, US, Australia, of course, UK, the laws are not going to be very foreign, easy to decipher.
Hmm. And I was curious because there's the CARICOM community that a lot of our audience will be
Hmm.
familiar with. It's like a supranational settlement block of
Yeah.
which I believe Belize is part of, right?
Belize is certainly a member of CARICOM, the Caribbean community. Yeah, absolutely, and that is something that an organization that binds our sister countries across the West Indies, mostly English-speaking countries, but binds through education, through trade, through immigration as well. Very familiar, and
And
absolutely,
is that part
Belize
of the
is a CARICOM.
reason studying in Jamaica helped? Because like if you study in Jamaica, it's recognized in Belize.
Yeah, so we don't have a law school in Belize. So there's
Ah,
there's three law schools across the region. If we're talking about CARICOM,
uh-huh.
or English speaking Caribbean again, which is part of the University of West Indies system. I went to Norman Manley Law School in Jamaica, and Belizeans are zoned to that school. But there's also
Mm,
law schools in the Bahamas as well as Trinidad. Depending
mm.
on your nationality within the West Indies, you may be zoned to one of those regional schools over the other.
Okay, that's interesting. This is the type
Yeah.
of nerdy,
Yeah.
like international jurisdiction stuff my audience likes.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad that I can help out.
Because people also think about this in terms of like passports. Like we've had a lot of podcast episodes with people in the citizenship by investment world, right? Which you're
Sure.
probably at least a little bit familiar with, like
Yeah.
Antigua and St. Kitts and so forth. And all of those, or most of those countries, are part of CARICOM as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing. I mean, it's easier to travel amongst CARICOM member states. For example, the majority of CARICOM countries, if you would come in on, let's say, a Canadian passport, American passport, what have you, I believe you get 30 days to be a visitor. If you're a CARICOM member state, you get 6 months basically, longer visa in sister states. So I've experienced that certainly. Um, and I am familiar with what you're talking about as far as those citizenship and investment programs. Although Belize had that some years ago, near 30 years ago, we haven't had it for a very long time. It seems to be concentrated in the Eastern Caribbean these days, some of the smaller islands.
And have you ever done a case with someone from with like a CBI passport to get residency in Belize?
I have not. I don't have any experience with that. I know that again, those type of services were legal, legitimate some time ago, but those Economic Citizenship Program Act was repealed in Belize
Yeah.
more than 20 years ago.
Yeah, Belize. I should pull it up on IMI, the IMI website. They have like a little thing about the history of the Belize citizenship program. I know they had one for like a couple of years or
A couple
something.
of years,
But
yeah.
no, I meant more like if someone gets like a St. Kitts passport, can they move to Belize type of thing? It's kind of niche stuff, but people like nerding out
Sure.
about some of this.
I don't want to. I don't want to proclaim that I know the specifics with regard to a St. Kitts and Nevis passport. But as a CARICOM member state, I'm almost positive they would come in, we'll call it visa free,
Uh-huh.
albeit a 6 month visitor's pass or visitor's permit, what we call it, tourist visa. In addition to that, as far as university educated people that are CARICOM members or national citizens of a member state, uh, there's an easier way to facilitate the transfer of those credentials and also the ability to work. Let's call it a streamlined fast pass work permit.
Uh-huh.
Indeed, you shouldn't even need a work permit, but there's still some registration procedural stuff that needs to be done. Far easier for a CARICOM national university educated coming into Belize. So there are some pathways, legitimate pathways, and that is specifically what we're talking about there as far as the CARICOM agreement itself.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool stuff. Yeah, it's not quite like EU level where you can just show up, but
Certainly
it's like
patterned though. It's
it's
a
similar.
EU
Yeah.
NAFTA similar, yeah, Mercosur type of deal. Because there's a lot of trading aspects as well. So goods that may be produced in one CARICOM member state, they can go zero tax or tariff into another member state. So it does have at least designed to have aspects of those free trade agreements like NAFTA and like certain portions of the European Union are as well.
When you say the word far, and I can hear like a almost like a Jamaican twang to it, or almost sounds Irish. You're like fire. You're like I don't know. It's not the way that someone from Buffalo would say it. So I can.
Um,
You've really been down in Belize a while.
haven't been living in Buffalo for some time.
Yeah.
Still go back. Still a big Bills fan and all of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, perhaps language morphs over time.
No, that's cool, man. The Bills, man. That's kind of my default team because Canada doesn't have a team. The Bills and the Patriots.
I think the Niagara frontier there. The Bills are shared across the border. It's a good team. It goes back and forth. I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of Bills fan north of the border.
Okay, so speaking of residency stuff, let's
Yeah.
get into the juicy topic of the QRP.
Okay.
Do you want to
Yeah.
lay out what that acronym stands for and what that
Sure.
program is?
Yeah. It's the Qualified Retirement Program. So it's a GOB or Government of Belize design program that's governed by the Belize Tourism Board to attract people to retire to Belize. Um, the majority of people that have taken advantage of the program have been Europeans and North Americans at this point, but it's not limited to North Americans or Europeans. But essentially, what it does, or the main benefit of what it brings, is the ability to legally reside in Belize once you submit an application, prove your qualifications, what have you. Um, you can stay in Belize as long as you want. It's a special kind of immigration channel that does not involve the typical immigration law. It's a special law, permanent retired person, if you would like to
Mhm.
call it that. In addition to the ability to legally reside here in Belize, you can bring in a boat, a wheeled motor vehicle, a plane, household goods, basically the contents of your home, appliances, furniture, bedding, what have you, tax-free importation into Belize. So it's a massive benefit. Basically, once you qualify, you could set up a new home or a new vacation home, a new retirement home in Belize, and the tax impact or the tax savings rather of this program are just absolutely massive. So that's a really exciting program for people that are considering maybe a second home or to retire to a place where money goes a little bit further.
Mhm.
Certainly something to look into, and we've helped out a lot of people come into Belize under this QRP or Qualified Retirement Program. It's been a success.
So, okay, so you have the passive income. There's an age minimum, right? It's like
Yeah,
50.
it was changed recently. Last couple of years, there was an amendment to the act. It was lowered the age to qualify to be to apply under the retirement program to 40 years old. Used to be 45, now it's 40. So officially, 40 years old in Belize is the new retirement age.
40 years old. Okay.
Yes.
And what so if you don't mind, I'm just gonna ask a couple kind of standard questions you probably get on every sales call or client call about this. But
Sure.
so does just one spouse have to be 40 plus? Can your spouse be less than 40?
There would be no restriction on that. There would be more restrictions on if you were trying to have a dependent be part of your primary application under the Qualified Retirement Program Act. If you were not legally married, if you were trying to prove some type of common law bond or something
Okay.
else. But age of your spouse, no.
Okay. And speaking of dependents, like let's just say I'm not 40 yet,
Yep.
but I really want to go to Belize. Could I have my parents do it and then I'm their dependent, or no, because I'm over like 25 or whatever?
Yeah. So you can to qualify as a dependent of a qualified retired person. Legally married is one. Um, Children, 18 years old or younger,
Uh-huh.
or if those children or if another family member are entirely dependent
Yeah,
upon you, and we're talking about handicap or
like in
disability or
school.
something,
Yeah.
yeah, then so. But no, I'm not an adult child. But
Okay.
that wouldn't stop. Well, that wouldn't. I was going to say that wouldn't stop the adult child from applying once they reach the minimum age of 40. Fortunately, that doesn't provide a
Yeah, yeah.
solution.
No, that's pretty standard. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the 40 is good. What did it used to be? It used to be 45?
It used to be 45. That's correct. Yeah. There was an amendment about 2 years ago now, 2024, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And there is like a rentista or some other program for younger people that my understanding is just not been popular at all, where you basically have to renew every single month for like 11 months and
Yeah,
then
I can elaborate on that one, Matt. I mean, basically, what you're talking about there is the visitor's permit. If you remember when we were chatting about CARICOM and kind of freer movement of people, uh,
Mhm.
if you come in with a Canadian passport, American passport, British passport, you get 30 days. 30-day
Mhm.
visitor's permit. It's effectively a
Visa,
tourist visa. Yeah,
30
it's a
days
tourist.
visa free is the
That's
tourist
right.
visa.
Well, it is an actual visa. I mean, but it just labeled a permit. Anyway,
Yeah.
you're allowed to stay in the country 30 days. You can't work under that. You can explore, visit, and have a good time. And at
Mhm.
the end of those 30 days, if you decide you want to stick around a little bit longer, you can apply to the immigration department for an additional 30 days, an extension of that visitor's permit.
Mhm.
And that extension costs 100 United States dollars or 200 Belizean dollars for another 30-day increment per person per passport. And so
Mhm.
that is a way to stay in the country legally as a tourist, effectively, even though it's not officially a tourist visa.
Mhm.
So that's one way people do it. And that's actually one of the routes toward an immigration status more longer term, like permanent residency. Because for permanent residency, you would have to be in the country under a visitor's permit, like that 30-day visitor permit we're talking about, or a work permit, that's a 1 year work permit, before you can apply for permanent residency. It's really a different immigration track than what we talked about, the qualified retirement program, which is you're a permanent retiree tourist. You're not going to qualify for permanent residency or eventual nationality. It's for someone that wants to relocate, spend more time in Belize, enjoy the golden years, not for someone that would want to work or invest,
Mhm.
QRP, which is probably why people that want to become more actively involved in the economy here in Belize pursue a work permit or some other landed immigration status that allows them to more fully participate
Mhm.
in our economy.
Yeah, now that I think of it, we did have a podcast about Belize with a friend of mine, Daniel Thompson from Noma Collective. People
Okay.
can go look up this episode. And this was during the pandemic, and he was basically stuck in Belize because it was the pandemic, and then he was also having a baby or something.
Yeah.
Um, and so they just did that. They just like did the 11 monthly renewals of the tourist visa and then like got the PR, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I know that guy. I think he's up in Mexico now. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I know Daniel. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So I think he did that. I could be wrong. Don't quote me, but I knew that that was like kind of a track. And because young people are like, how do I do it? I'm like, well, there is a way where if you renew 11 times. But anyway, so not many people are going to do that. So that reminds me for the QRP, is it immediate permanent residency or is it 1 year temp and then renews to permanent or how's
So
that work?
you actually, it's a completely different immigration status. So it's
Mhm.
not equivalent to permanent residency, though it has aspects of permanent residence. For example, as you qualify as a QRP or a dependent of the QRP, you have the right to reside in the country. Now, the QRP is a renewable status. So once a year, you have to submit an application to renew, along with a copy of a bank statement showing that you brought in um, 24,000 United States dollars into the banking system and deposit into your Belizean dollar bank account. So there are some
Mhm.
financial requirements. It's not just an application sign up. That money that you have to bring in every year, that you have to prove every year to renew your status, you can invest that, you can spend that, you can save that. There's no restrictions on what you do with it. But they are funds that are converted into our local currency, the Belizean dollar. So really, the intent is that you would spend that on living expenses here on the ground in Belize. But there is that. And so while the qualified retirement program does have certain aspects of permanency, you could reside here permanently as long as you keep that status in good standing every year and into the future. And so it does not lead to permanent residency, the QRP, nor nationality. It's not the standard immigration
Oh,
track.
really? It
It's a
doesn't,
very
it's
special program set
really
up
it
with
doesn't
all
lead.
those, yeah, with all those real big benefits. The tax-free importation of household goods and motor vehicles. I mean, the savings are massive for somebody that might even want to purchase a motor vehicle in Belize, call it a pickup truck or what have you. Still, the tax savings are huge. So it is certainly something to consider for anybody that may be considering Belize or other jurisdictions that offer similar incentives to relocate and enjoy what Belize has to offer.
That's interesting. I didn't realize it didn't lead towards citizenship.
Not the
Um,
qualified retirement program, no.
okay. So what, and is there also an investor visa in Belize where if you invest
There's
200K or
some
something?
semblance, yeah. There's some semblance of an investor visa at this point. I mean, what you see online, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding and there's some bad information.
I believe
But
you.
right now, the closest thing to an investor visa legally that we have. If you can show indeed an investment amount amounting to 500,000 Belize, so 250,000 US, you can get what's a temporary investor's residency status. Note temporary, so it's not permanent residency. Temporary, it allows you to come and go, ease of entry and exit, and ease of staying in Belize for longer than those 30-day time periods. So it was really designed for, it's called a business person that's operating in two different jurisdictions, Belize being one of them, but doesn't want to get in the way of every 30 days renewing a visitor's permit because indeed the person is an investor and a property owner typically. That's what that program is for. And it would, again, the big benefit there would be immigration benefits. You can come in and stay as long as you want up to that year. There's a yearly renewal, annual renewal on that status as well. Thus, temporary investors residency program. But we don't really see that one utilized all that often. Typically, people want to come in for the longer term,
Mhm.
or they want to do something that involves work as opposed to being able to come in and out, managing companies. I mean, there's a million things that could be doing, but all business related is I approve that and are granted that status.
Yeah, is there anything where you could spin up a Belize company and then sort of hire yourself and then you're getting a work permit and then
I
you're
mean, that's when you apply for your own work permit. I mean, that typically is the procedure, how it's set up, the structure. An applicant for a work permit in Belize it needs to be resident. So it's a resident employer that is applying for a work permit to hire a non-resident foreign labor. And so, yes, you would start a company or you would register perhaps a company that you have set up in another country, setting up a branch of that company in Belize and thus establishing residency of your, which then provides it with the right to apply for a work permit to hire foreign labor, which could be yourself for management purposes. Yeah, that is the way typically it's done. Application like,
because it
and
could be
that
interesting if you did a work visa, maybe you could be working towards citizenship.
well, absolutely, and that would qualify. And I can tell you that the work permit, or temporary employment permit is what it's called specifically down here. It certainly allows you to work first and foremost. It's a work permit. Allows you to work only for the employer that applied on your behalf, though. So you would have to work for your company, but indeed your company could contract out services. In addition to that ability to we have plenty of clients that decide that they want to be in Belize for the long term, but they do not want to have the hassle of checking in with immigration every 30 days to renew that. So they would apply and get a work permit, which lasts for 1 year. And it is effectively an immigration status, a work permit, 1 year that you do not have to check in every 30 days with the immigration department, like that visitor's permit that I mentioned. And in addition to that, it is a good looking path to permanent residency. I mean, if you have a work permit, it's typically 2 or 3 successive work permits, and you would have been in country enough time to be granted permanent residency. And once you have permanent residency, there's no need to have any additional permits or what have you to live in Belize, to work in Belize, or to fully participate in society.
It's so good that we have you here because it's probably one of the least documented countries in the Americas, just in terms of the visas and
Mhm.
residency and citizenship. Like even I was just looking at the Belize nationality law page on
Yeah.
Wikipedia, and it doesn't even say how many years it is to PR, how many years to citizenship. Could you break that down a little bit?
Yeah. So, what for permanent residency? How to qualify for Belizean permanent residency? You have to be in the country with a legal immigration status. Now, that could be that visitor's permit, like I said, tourist visa. Could be the work permit that I just mentioned that lasts for a year. You may have a student visa, or there's other visas out there, but predominantly we're talking about a visitor's permit or a work.
Mhm.
Once you're in country for 1 year, without leaving the country, without leaving Belize for more than 14 cumulative days, 14 total days, travel days included, during
Mhm.
that qualifying 365, that's usually the highest hurdle. And once you surpass that on day 366, you would be entitled to apply for permanent residency in this country. Um, it's not instantly granted. There is a processing of that application. And it, at this point, is about 12 to 18 months. It takes a long time. Um, you still in Belize, that's why I was talking about maybe 2 or 3 successive work permit. So if you're going in your second year
Hmm.
with a second work permit, maybe you're lucky, and at the end of those 12 months, 24 months since you set foot in Belize, you'll be granted permanent residency. But again, 12 to 18 months is what we're seeing these days. So it might be in your third year once you're granted permanent residency. When you're granted permanent residency, no need to get any more work permits, nothing else. You're good to go.
Hmm.
And once you hold permanent residency for 5 years, if you're interested in a passport, nationality, citizenship, you'd be entitled to apply for Belizean nationality as well after holding permanent residency for 5 years.
Cool. Thank you for laying that out.
No problem.
That's huge. Okay, great. And back to the QRP, which I imagine is by far the most popular program.
Mm, these days, probably half and half. I mean, those people that are not really interested in starting a business or working, a
Uh,
qualified retirement program is massive. Even if we're talking about living out on one of the islands where you're driving a golf cart, they bring in a motorized golf cart, a boat trailer included, outfit an apartment or a new house with appliances, electronics, furniture, what have you,
mhm,
and start your new retirement life or start your new vacation home. And as long as you can send 24,000 US down every year for you to spend it locally in Belize, again, no restrictions on that. That's the highest hurdle with the program, and then you get all of that stuff imported
mhm,
tax free. Again, in addition to that, there are some certain restrictions. We haven't gone into the details, but you're entitled to import one wheeled motor vehicle, no older
mhm,
than 5 years old. What we're talking about there is any wheeled motor vehicle. They're
mhm,
pretty tight with the regulations. That could be a SUV, that could be a Jeep, that could be a motorcycle, that could be a golf cart. So you
mhm,
get one of those. And if you want to buy brand new, you can get tax free brand new if you're buying from one of our dealerships locally, both golf cart dealerships or motor vehicle dealerships. Every 3 years in the program, you can upgrade. So you can get another vehicle as long as you sell the first one you had. So you can keep a fresh vehicle throughout the program as long as you're down here. And like I said, that's the really big benefit. The amount of tax savings. I mean, I can't express to you how large those savings are for somebody that would be interested in setting up shop in Belize and enjoying everything that we have to offer, be it the jungle, the sea, the reef, um, fishing. We got a lot going on in this small country.
So regarding the import, I imagine a lot of people, their logical next question might be, okay, so I'm going to drive through Mexico. Do you have any tips for that? Like I guess you have to do like the Mexico temporary import permit, whatever.
Yeah, that's not my area of expertise, but I can tell you, I know a lot of people that have done it. I have heard about that temporary import permit. I understand that you get that as you're coming down right there at the border. I mean, if you're crossing from,
Hmm.
depends on what state and what have you, but a lot of people do it. I would advise somebody to seek information. There's a lot involved, different countries, different borders involved.
Hmm.
But it's doable, and we have a lot of people that drive their stuff down with a trailer, or drive an RV down, or drive their motor vehicle down from all parts, North America. It's doable. A lot of information available online. I'd say Facebook pages, various Instagram, social media spots about relocating to Belize, and I'm sure I always see a lot of that information on that. How to drive down, tips and tricks driving down through Mexico.
Hmm.
So that's what I would suggest in terms of social
Do
media.
you see a lot of people that kind of like split their time between Belize and Mexico, like particularly like, they're in Tulum or Bacalar or whatever?
Some, but not a whole lot. Certainly snowbirding type stuff as far as seasonal, being in Belize or have seasonal retirement homes, season summer homes, winter homes, I should say. A lot of that, but not necessarily outside of the northern districts, Corozal, um, that are people on spending time on both sides. I don't see a whole lot of call it expat or foreign investment that way. Certainly, we have a lot of people living in the Corozal district that go to Mexico quite frequently
Hmm.
for medical, for shopping, for whatever other reasons, access to more amenities. Um, but not necessarily what you're saying. I think what you were asking about is maybe having a place in both, a place in Tulum, a place in
Yeah,
San
yeah.
Pedro, Belize, and that. Some, for sure, some, but not the majority.
I'd have my boat. I'd be like boating back and forth or something.
Yeah, yeah, that very much doable in Belize. Got great waters for boating.
Cool. Okay, one other question I know people would ask a lot would be about tax residency. So
Yeah.
Belize is a territorial tax system. So, from my understanding, so they don't tax foreign income. So, people are probably conducting business in the U.S. or whatever, and that's not going to be taxed in Belize. Is my understanding.
For the most part, that's true. It's a tax system based on residency. So if you're a resident of Belize, you're paying tax on your income. I take us back to the QRP program. The Qualified Retirement Program is the only law that we have that specifically exempts foreign sourced income from somebody that's been provided with residency rights in Belize. So, Qualified Retirement Program specifically allows for people that are working online or remote workers
Mhm.
sitting on the ground on the beach in Belize, but deriving their income stream from somewhere else, someone else, their clients. That is specifically not taxed and part of the qualified
Okay,
retirement
so
program. So
yeah,
that's been
so
really
Belize explicitly doesn't
yes.
care, I guess you'd
Mhm.
say. Cool. And then on the flip side, some people might actually want to become Belize tax residents to get like a tax ID number,
Yeah.
to get like a tax residency
Mhm.
certificate if that's possible because they
Certainly,
want to
certainly something that's
escape
possible. I
their
mean,
high tax
our
system.
office, uh, we are a licensed registered agent for corporate services here in Belize. Yes, I mean, it would involve either setting up a new company or bringing a foreign company to be registered
Mhm,
here in Belize. And then we would get certificate of incorporation or registration. In
mhm.
fact, it is mandatory that all companies or people engaged in commerce in Belize obtain a TIN, a tax identification number,
Uh,
and then comply with our tax laws locally. It's something that can be done. It's something that we've had a lot of clients seek out that service and provide to them. So yes, we can do that.
yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty common. Set up a company, and that's kind of the justification to request the TIN.
Yeah,
Um, what's it called? Is does the concept of a tax residency certificate exist where Belize could basically have like a one pager that says,
we don't have
what
that. I know a lot of
accounts?
people ask for that. Yeah, some jurisdictions we don't have that. The closest thing you'd get is that if you have a company and the company is going to have a tax identification number or
Uh,
GST certificate with the name of the company and the tax number. Um, but no, we don't have. I hereby declare this company to be tax resident of this person. No.
gotcha. Okay, so but you can get an individual tax ID number, not just for the company. Like you can get a
You
personal
could
level.
indeed. Typically, how that would work now is if you are a consultant, contractor, professional.
Uh,
However, um, as a non-resident, non-national, you would need to get a work permit. And remember, a work permit holder
uh,
is bound for the entity, person, employer who applied for them. And so you just have to, figure that out. So it would be better to operate in a company. If somebody's looking to tax identification number from Belize in their individual name, the best way is to go into a legitimate actual business because they're not given out. It's not something you can just easily register for as an individual. You have to prove activity.
okay, cool. Hopefully you don't feel like I'm grilling you or something. These are just the
No, not at
questions that
all. Yeah, these are questions a
people
lot
would
of my
ask.
clients have. So these are typical as usual questions.
Cool, because then
Yeah,
yeah, the transcript laid all out. People know, getting the word out there, and you're the definitive source. So this is good for you. Um,
try my
okay, and
best.
so what kind of like do you have any like fun success stories of people that moved down and
Sure.
they're enjoying kind of life in
Yeah,
the fun and
lots,
sun?
man. I mean, lots and lots. I mean, pick anything you might be into. Obviously, we're a developing nation first and foremost. So, if you're coming down to invest in big industry or machinery or something like that, that's not the place. But people that are, following their dreams to become professional fly fishermen, follow their dreams, scuba, to start resorts in the middle of the jungle, off grid,
Hmm.
to start a spice farm, a million and one, kind of when I say cutting edge, like the edge of wild west type of thing. So
Hmm.
this is a developing country. It's not we're not seeing everything that Canada and the United States has. It's more like um, laws are in place slowly but surely being enforced better. Infrastructure is coming. I've been in the country for 20 years. I've seen significant improvements in getting around and how and the internet and everything in Belize. It's a comfortable place. It's a comfortable place. It's got a lot going on for it as far as natural environment and
Mhm.
freedom, quite frankly. And, mind your own business and pursue your passion. A lot of people that have gotten into agriculture.
Mm.
I have a success story. Some friends of mine, some Brits that started up a small farm and developing cheeses. I mean, so many different stories. Success. Somebody that was very successful in the spirit industry started early on bringing in wines and kind of refining the palate of the Belizean market, as well as how tourism has really come up in the last. Tourism is pretty recent and fresh in Belize as compared to other places around the Caribbean. Certainly, Jamaica or Mexico or the Bahamas. A lot of people from the southern United States, southeast United States, say that Belize reminds them a lot of Florida 50 years ago. I wasn't in Florida 50 years ago, so I can't verify how truthful that is, but I can get what they're saying. We're still relatively unknown. I don't think the wave has crested on Belize. We're still getting better air service. More and more airlines are flying to us every year and kind of getting the word out that there's something
Mhm.
special in Central America. And what? They speak English in Central America? Yes. In Belize,
Mhm.
we do. So that kind of thing. So things are improving. And I remain excited about the country and what the future holds.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are really looking for that English language country where they can retire, where they can maybe be a snowbird, spend their winters, place that's not going to tax them. And sounds like Belize and this QRP program in particular really fits the bill.
Yeah, I could. Any of your listeners that want to speak to me or find out more information about the program, again, go on the website. It's probably the easiest way, lawbelize.bz or lawbelize.bz. Um, and you'll find a lot of information about what we do, what we talked about here today, Vance, as far as immigration is concerned, but certainly other aspects that we can help out with that are maybe a little bit less known. We can help bring in your pets, for example. There's a lot of hoops you have to jump through to
Ah,
bring your dog or cat down, and that's something that certain
okay.
persons in the office have a
It's
passion
doable.
for. So yeah, it's doable, and we
Okay.
have a lot of success with that too. Just making things easier. A lot of what we do in this office um, make the transition easier. People that are interested in taking a look at Belize, considering it for an investment, considering it for a second home or a new permanent home. Um, our office tries to protect them, keep them out of trouble, tell it to them, straight and narrow, and really help make Belize their new home. A lot of success stories again.
Cool. Just one or two things before we get you out of here. I was actually in Roatan, Honduras, just
Mhm.
a couple months ago, and they were even like, "Oh yeah, on a clear day, you could see Belize over
Yeah.
there." And I'm like,
No,
"What?"
yeah. Funny enough, a couple months ago, I celebrated my son's birthday in Roatan, and we flew directly from Belize, from the international airport on one of our domestic airlines, Tropic Air. Um,
Really?
I don't know if you can see Belize from Roatan. That would be the southern parts of the country, Punta Gorda town, or the Toledo district.
Uh,
Maybe I've heard crazier things. It was an hour flight from Belize City International or Philip Colts International Airport, just outside of Belize City in Ladyville. It was a nice flight. It was beautiful. I would tell you that Roatan is even more developing than Belize. That's kind of what I remember maybe
really?
20 years ago. Yeah, but Belize is far larger, first and foremost.
Uh,
Um, and at this point, as far as getting around and things like that, roads, yeah, I consider Belize to be far more developed than Roatan.
Interesting. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Even though I had a great time in Roatan, it was a nice place.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
how long the
blowing up
flight.
too. Like they're
Yeah,
doing like they were like renovating the whole airport, basically like a new airport, and yeah, there was definitely
yeah,
a
it
lot
was
of
good.
growth there. There's a direct flight from Belize to Roatan.
Yeah, we have again. Tropic Air is one of our domestic airlines. We have
Mhm.
two: we have Tropic Air and Maya Island Air. Majority of their flights are domestic flights. A lot of our offshore islands
Uh-huh.
visit. That's the quickest way to get out there. But also some international flights. So Tropic does Roatan, Flores in Guatemala, and they did. I'm not sure if they're still doing. I think they are, and
Mhm.
there maybe Cancun as well. So to bring people in that coming across the pond from
That's
Europe.
cool. Oh man, I didn't know this because I have to go to. I just applied for residency in Honduras when I
Okay.
was down in Roatan, and now I have to
Yeah.
go back to Honduras like every year to
Okay.
like keep it active and work towards PR and citizenship. So
Okay.
maybe what I'll do is I'll fly into Cancun because it's way easier,
Yeah.
and then I'll visit you in Belize, and then I'll take the
Yeah.
flight to Roatan.
Yeah. Check it out. Tropic Air. Definitely, you could take that all the way down. It's fast becoming the Central American airline. I don't know. They got a lot of room to grow there, but they do really well. It was a comfortable flight. It was quick. Was nice. Took some beautiful pictures of the reef and Roatan coming in and then going back home into Belize as well. It's really picturesque.
And I'm just curious, what's the mix of like Brits, Europeans, Canadians, Americans? What's the split?
Uh, I would say in the call it expat centers, so where there's a lot of foreign-born people living. I would say majority Americans, followed up by Canadians and Brits, and a mix of European nationalities. What percentage? Maybe 40%, 50% American, first and
Hmm,
foremost.
interesting.
Um, and also, there's different pockets as well. So, if you're at all familiar with, Cancun and Playa del Carmen, and kind of the difference there in investment in tourism, Cancun being kind of more of a, in
Hmm.
my opinion, um, American Canadian centered spring break action. Playa del Carmen being more European and smaller cafes and things of that nature. We have those differences as well. So San Pedro is our number one tourist destination on
Hmm.
Ambergris Key, one of the largest keys out there. We have about 200 keys off the coast of Belize.
Hmm.
Um, that one tends to be, nightclubs, restaurants, bars, good time. Not nearly as developed as a Cancun, not even close. A place where there's only golf carts on the road. It's really unique. A lot of American and Canadian investment up that side. We have Key Caulker, a smaller island that's always kind of drawn a more
Yep.
attractive, more bohemian vibe. That has a lot more, fresh pasta, daily pasta, Italian investment, and French cafes and more European investment there. Very close islands, but completely different, and pockets of different types of people like that around the country as well. Uh,
Placencia.
Placencia is a good mix, a good mix of European, North American, South African, Asian. Belize is very much a melting pot, always has been, um, and even now with different nationalities coming in and different investors, residents, what have you. But one thing I will tell you, not overdeveloped, um, very peaceful, not crime riddled, really friendly people, and a really great place to hopefully increase my lifespan. I think quality of life is really high. Nice, easygoing place with kind of low pressure, if that is such a thing, or lower pressure life.
Totally. Yeah, it must be very chill. I'm embarrassed I haven't been to Belize yet, but we're gonna change
Come
that.
down, man. You got to check it out with your own eyes.
I know. Dude, you hear about the NBA player that bought the island in Belize?
Yeah, Bullock. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have heard about that.
Reggie Bullock from the
Yeah,
Mavs.
yeah. It's true from what I see and read. I've not met the man, but I've seen, and even in local media, he is he's invested in this country.
All right. So for the audience, if you want to be like the NBA players, get yourself an island in Belize and Ryan
Yeah,
can hook it
plenty
up.
available. Plenty available.
Cool, man. Well, why don't you take this time to again let people know where they can find you and
Sure.
a final message for the audience.
Yeah. Well, once again, thanks, Vance. Thanks for inviting me to speak to your listeners on My Latin Life. I'm Ryan Wrobel. I'm an attorney, Wrobel and Company LLP, attorneys at law. We're based in Belize City, Belize, but we work countrywide. We've been around for a little bit. I've been in Belize permanently 20 years, originally from Buffalo, New York. Um, New York attorney, not in active practice. We are a law firm of four in Belize, and we're looking to help people invest in Belize, relocate, have fun and see a different country that's really unique. Lawbelize.bz, lawbelize.bz is our website address. And I'd love to talk to any of your viewers that may have a further interest in Belize. And Vance, again, thanks for having me on My Latin Life.
Absolutely. So when we say bye, just hold on 2 seconds so the audio has time to upload. Forgot to
Okay.
mention offline. And I'll do a quick outro. So for the audience, Please subscribe to the MyLatinLife Podcast. We put out 2 episodes a week with amazing guests like Ryan. You won't want to miss an episode. Whatever podcast player you're listening to this on, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, etc., please be sure to subscribe, follow, leave a review. It really helps us grow the show. All the links are in the description for Ryan and all the different services we have, community, etc. And that's the episode. Ciao for now.